one interesting question. Okay, how many of you can guess? You check. A farmer was facing the problem with the yield after growing the crop. Crop was not growing properly. Then he did not consult any agricultural scientists. So what he thought, if he supply manure to the soil, that can be set right. Now let us see what type of questions usually arise from the chapter acids, bases and salts from grade 10, right? Coming to here, these are very much important questions. You need to know the answers for these. Before listening to the answer from my side, you need to answer the question. Then you go ahead with that video and verify your answer. It is better. Coming to here, water of crystallization. First question, if it is asked, what is water of crystallization? Most of you know already, but you need to understand instead of by-heading. Just you see, if you take any salt, say for example copper sulfate. In copper sulfate, if you put that copper sulfate powder in the paper and press and check it, is it wet? It does not show any type of water in that. It is fully dry, right? But still water is present in that. When do we notice that water? When you take that crystals in a test tube and heat that. When you heat, water vapor starts appearing there in the test tube, right? We call this type of water after heating what it is liberated, that is called water of crystallization. This water of crystallization, how do we define? It is fixed number of water molecules present in one formula unit of salt. One formula unit of salt means what? Say for example CuSO4 if you take. Okay, this is one molecule of what? Copper sulfate. In this, if you take one formula unit, it is in that 5 what water molecules are there. Then we can call this as what? Water of crystallization. This part which is this water molecule which is part of this one formula unit, this is called water of crystallization. Okay, only after heating it is coming out. Then what happens by heating that copper sulfate? As you know already, copper sulfate is blue in color, right? When we heat it, as this water is evaporated and it is leaving this formula unit now, only what remains after heating? Only copper sulfate remains, CuSO4, and this water, it is going in the form of vapor out, right? So what happens now? If you notice the color of the copper sulfate, this is blue in the beginning, this is blue in color. After heating, this is changing to white color, right? White color. So this is how we can notice the water of crystallization. Very simple it is. So try to understand instead of by-heading. Okay, this is one. Next we will come to know about still more. Okay, coming to here, hydrated and anhydrous salts. Okay, what do we call actually hydrated and anhydrous salts? Hydrated means what? We are not giving water to that. Already in the salt water exists. Just as example I told here, blue color copper sulfate if you take. Here if a 5.H2O is there, okay, dot 5H2O, these 5 water molecules if it is present along with this salt, then we can call this type of salt as what? Hydrated. Hydrated means it contains already water. If you take here anhydrous means this is what? Anhydrous here. Okay, we call this as anhydrous salt because copper sulfate is there, water is evaporated and it is going out, leaving that copper sulfate. So that is why this is white in color. Then how to change this to blue again back? Very simple, just to add water to this. You add this again water, means it takes only 5 water molecules, it takes one formula unit, right? So when you add water, again it changes to what? Hydrated copper sulfate as it is given here. That is CuSO4.5H2O. Then we can say that this is anhydrous, this is hydrated. Hydrated is blue in color, anhydrous is white in color. Remember these differences. That is very much important, right? So this is just what is a okay, examples if you take other than this. If you take sodium carbonate, okay, if you take sodium carbonate, that is Na2CO3 if you take, this is now not this is anhydrous now. If you want hydrated, it will be having dot 10 H2O, means there are 10 water molecules in one formula unit of a sodium carbonate. Remember, okay, when it is heated strongly, then it what? It is evaporating water. Next here, this is one. Next sodium carbonate over. Other than this, if you take gypsum, if you take, okay, calcium sulfate it is, right? Dot 2H2O is there. Means 2 water molecules are there in 1 formula unit of what calcium sulfate. So we call this as gypsum, right? Now this is water molecule, means hydrated and unhydrated, means anhydrous and hydrated, we understood. Next, coming to here, preparation of a calcium oxychloride. How do we get this calcium oxychloride? How do we prepare it? Very simple here. Now what we can say is here, when you treat this calcium hydroxide, we call this as usually slaked lime, right? This is slaked lime when it is treated with chlorine gas, okay, it is forming one chemical or compound called CaOCl2. This name of this chemical is what? Calcium oxychloride, and generally we call this with common name as what? Bleaching powder. This bleaching powder is used for disinfecting infection of water, it may be, otherwise in chemical industries, in paper industries we use, okay, and many uses they are already mentioned, you know that. So here this is what? Bleaching powder, remember if this is asked, okay, bleaching powder. Next, after this, here water is liberated along this, because here OH twice is there, right? This is forming water, what is liberated. This is just a preparation of a bleaching powder and its uses. Next, coming to pH of the soil. One interesting question, okay, how many of you can guess? You check. A farmer was facing the problem with the yield after growing the crop. Crop was not growing properly. Then he did not consult any agricultural scientists. So what he thought, if he supply manure to the soil, that can be set right. So what he did, he just with that thought, he added organic compost to the soil. As a result, there was no increase in the crop yield. Instead of that, still it was hampered. Means crop did not grow still well. Means it was still affected there. Then what might be the possible reason for this? Of course, if you guess, it is very good. Look at this. What happens? Farmer had thought, if he supply organic compost manure, it can give more yield, it can grow well. But what had happened actually? The pH of the soil was already what? Lower, means acidity was already higher in the beginning itself. When he added, without consulting agricultural scientist, when he added organic compost, it again increased the what? Acidity of the soil by lowering the pH again, right? So as a result, what happened? So pH was lowered again, acidity was increased. As a result, crops were affected still more extent, right? So what had to be done? How would you treat this? Actually, if agricultural scientist, if he had consulted, he would have given suggestion that pH is already lower, means acidity is already higher, it has to be brought down. So what has to be added? For that, lime has to be added, right? So that suggestion would have been given to the farmer in case if he had consulted that agricultural scientist. So these are what application questions which are asked based on this, what pH it may be, here bleaching powders it may be, hydrated and unhydrated salts, and water crystallization and all this. So be ready with this. It will help for your upcoming FA2 exam. It may be SA1 or next whatever you face upcoming exam, final exams. It will help you definitely.